you want to be. And we'll get going. So just going to move that down a little bit. So we're actually going to get started in a back opener. And so I'm going to suggest a block for this. But if you don't have blocks, you could use like a pillow or a cushion. So the kind of most heart opening or back bending is the block on its mid setting. And then you come to lie down with your shoulders kind of between the block and the head drops back. Now this for some people is just way too intense. So if you come into that and it's uncomfortable, turn the block on its flattest setting, going horizontal, and then come to lie down and take the shoulders onto the block. And then your legs, they can be feet on the floor, knees bent. You can take the knees together. You can take the soles of the feet, knees open wide, or you can just extend the legs. But what I want you to do with your arms is to turn the palms of the hands to face up and open up the shoulders. Nice, so that you're really going to open the shoulders in this pose. We're just trying to counteract probably all of the sitting and the hunching that we've been doing. So start to just let the arms become heavy and let the shoulders release. And I want you to think about the right collarbone melting down to the right, and then the left collarbone melting down to the left. And so you've got this lovely opening at the center of the chest. If at any point you feel like you need to come out of this little back bend, by all means, please do. But if you can stay in it, just work on now deepening the breath. So as you inhale, really feeling the chest and the belly rise. And as you exhale, just feel everything becoming heavy and melting back down. Inhaling, feeling everything rise, expand. And exhaling, releasing down. Just letting go of anything that's been happening in your week, any responsibilities that might await you the rest of the day. And just bringing yourself into this present moment. And just take 5 more breaths here. Really feeling that rise and fall, that expand and release. And at the end of your 5th breath, you're just going to gently roll to one side, move the block out from beneath you, and then come to lay back down on the mat. Maybe noticing that space that's been created. And just taking the hands onto the belly, elongating the back of the neck, maybe slight tuck of the chin. Place the feet onto the floor and just take a little windshield wipe from side to side. Feeling the belly moving under the hands. Just tuning into that connection. Nice. And then you're going to extend your legs and guide your feet over to the right corner of your mat, taking your right foot on top. Arms extend, grab a hold of your left wrist. We're just going to take a nice banana stretch now to open up the lateral sides of the body. Inhale, find length, and exhale, start to pull that left arm over to the right, opening up that whole left side of the body. You can use your right ankle to pull that left leg further over if you can. Just think about the skin and the muscle tissue from the outer edge of the ankle all the way along the leg, the hip, the rib cage, the armpit, all the way along the arm, stretching and opening here. And then just softly release the arms, let them kind of bend and come into a neutral position. Take the feet onto the floor. And just come to center. So centralizing the spine, letting the whole body be heavy for a moment. And then we'll come to take the other side. So re-extending the legs. This time you're going to hook your left ankle on top of your right, and you're going to grab a hold of your right wrist. Taking a nice big inhale and then exhaling, starting to take that curve the other way. So pulling that right hand over to the left. Try to keep your right butt cheek on the mat rather than lifting the hip. Just creating that lovely banana curve, that C curve. Stretching from the outer edge of that right ankle along the leg, the hip, the rib cage, the armpit, and the whole arm. Nice. And then again, you're going to release the tension in the arms. Just let the arms rebend. Bring the feet onto the floor, straighten the spine. You might lift your hips and just let yourself kind of settle here for a moment. Feeling into the body. If you want to, you can do a lot of this morning's practice with your eyes closed just to help you tune in, notice what's going on. And then grabbing one knee and then the other, just rocking side to side on that lower back, just massaging out the lumbar spine. And then take those hands under the knees and just start to rock and roll up and down on the spine. Trying to smooth this out, so curling into the tightest ball that you can until you eventually come all the way up and come to a seated position. So if you want to, you can sit on your block. We're going to sit here for about the next sort of 2 or 3 minutes. So bringing the hands onto the backs of the knees, slightly tuck the chin, elongate the neck, roll the shoulders up to the ears, squeeze the shoulders together on the back body, and then roll them down. Okay, roll the shoulders up to the ears. They come forwards, squeeze them together, and roll them down. Good. Do 3 more like that. So just working on the range of motion with those shoulders. Good. And then just take them the other way. So coming up, then forwards, then down, squeezing them together on the back, up, then forwards, then down. 2 more like that. Last one. Nice. And then from here, take your right hand out to the right and start to drop your left ear out to the left. Maybe coming onto just the middle finger. And if you want to, take your left hand onto the outside edge of the head, just to open up that space there. Reaching those right fingers as far away as you can to find that space. Good. Release the head if you're holding it. Take right hand onto the floor and just start to take that left hand up and over. Breathing here, looking up if that feels okay on the neck. Otherwise, just keep the neck quite neutral. You can take a baby bend in that right elbow if you have the mobility. If you don't worry about it. Nice. And then looking down to that right knee, left hand is going to come onto the knee, spinning yourself around. And let's just take a nice morning twist. Not trying to kind of whip yourself around. We don't want whiplash this morning, but just a gentle rotation. Using the breath to get you there. So every exhale, using that exhale to take you a little bit further. Nice. And then come back to center. Let the hands just rest on the knees again. Lengthen through the back of the neck, finding that space. And then taking that left hand out to the side. Start to let your right ear drop to your right shoulder. Extending that left arm and maybe bringing your right hand onto your head. If that doesn't feel good, you can just keep your hand on your knee. Trying to find that stretch in the neck. Breathing through it. We hold so much tension in the sides of our necks. And then releasing that head, plugging that left hand as you reach that right hand high, and then start to take it over. You might just come straight up. You might be able to reach over. You might be able to bend that elbow, whatever works for you. Again, you're just feeling into the body right now. Warming it up. And then looking to the knee, the hand comes onto the knee and we start to spin using the breath. Inhale, thinking about length first, then exhale, twisting. Just using this time to warm up, focusing on the breath. Nice. And then come back to center, hands on the knees again, lengthen out the neck. Good. Okay. One last little bit of spine and shoulder. We're going to bring our hands behind us. Okay. So we're coming into extension, which is a little back bend. So fingertips face the bum. Start to push the floor away, squeeze the shoulders together. This is retracting the shoulders and send your sternum up. So really puff up the chest to the sky. Now you can keep your chin tucked or you can let the head drop back. Just depends on what feels good to you. Keep actively pressing the hands into the floor. Keep actively squeezing the shoulders together, enjoying this little back bend. Good. Bring the chin down, draw the belly in, and we're going to go the opposite way. So we're now going to come into flexion. So arms are going to come forwards. We're going to protract the shoulders, so they're going to slide away from each other. And we're going to let the head drop. Just seeing kind of how close you can get that head to the mat. Good. And then rise back up. We're going to do the same two poses, but we're going to switch the cross of the legs. So just take the legs, cross them the opposite way. Fingertips facing the bum. Push the floor away, squeeze the shoulders together, puff up the chest. Maybe head drops back, maybe it doesn't. Feeling into that back bend. Might feel easier than the first time just because you're opening up into that muscle tissue. Last big breath here. Good. Retuck the chin, draw the belly in, and then start to maneuver forwards. So coming into the opposite, which is our flexion. So we've kind of moved the spines in all directions. We've gone forwards and backwards, we've gone side to side, and we've done some twists. So really nice way to warm up the spine. Nice. And then from here, lifting the head, whatever way you want to come into tabletops. You might just fling the legs behind you, might roll over them. Taking the hands onto the mat, spread those fingers nice and wide, and let's just start to draw some circles with our shoulders. So we're just going to take a moment to warm up the wrists. Super important to our yoga practice and something that we just don't spend enough time on. So trying to get those shoulders to kind of really oscillate around the fingers and the whole circumference of the hand. Switch it up, opposite direction. Keep pressing into the whole hand. Nice. Back to center. Fingertips turn to the outside of your mat. And you're just going to gently rock side to side. When you find that stretch in the wrist, stay there for a moment. And then take it the other way. And just maneuvering gently side to side. Good. Back to center. Fingertips are now going to try to face the knees. Don't worry if they don't face all the way. From here, either staying put if that's enough or starting to send the weight back. Keep the heel of the hand down, stretching into the forearm, into the wrist. We'll hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Take the hands forwards. We're going to do one more thing here. This is really good for strengthening the tendons in the forearms. So what I want you to do is lift the palm of the hand, of the right hand off the floor, but keep the knuckles down. And then press that hand back down. Then do the same with the left. Lift the palm of the left hand and then bring it back down. And then this time, see if you can lift them both at the same time. Lower back down. Good. So we're going to do 20. If you can't do them at the same time, just lift and lower at opposite. Okay. If you can do them at the same time, do them both. Let's go for 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, should be feeling it, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Tuck the toes. Let's give those hands a little break, little toe squat here. So if you can, bum is resting above the heels. If you can't do that, just lift, bring the hands together and just slide the forearms. So giving those wrists a little rotation. You can also just take the hands into fists and rotate the wrists like this. We're going to hold in this toe squat for 10, moving the wrists in whatever way works for you. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice work, guys. Bringing the hands back onto the floor. Give those feet a tap. And then from here, toes stay pointed, so untucked. Bring the bum towards the heels. Hands are going to come behind you, fingertips facing those toes. And then just start to bend the elbows until the knees lift. If you're very mobile and you want to drop onto those forearms, go for it. But we're just opening the tops of the ankles, holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. Push yourself all the way back up and into tabletop position. Nice. Okay, let's get a bit of movement happening. So tuck your right toe, drag it along the mat, kick into the heel, feel that stretch in the hamstring. And then from here, take your left toe out to the side. Drop your right foot and take that right hand high. Really nice stretch here. Reach the arm over the head. Let the left ear soften. Good. Okay, we're going to move from this position into a supported side plank. So inhale, hand comes high, lift the foot off the floor. And then exhale, place the foot down, bring the arm over the head. Good. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Don't worry if you're wobbling. Just work with your breath. Maybe if you want to challenge yourself, take the gaze up to the hand and then look down. We're just going to do 5 more. Every time you lift that back foot, squeeze the glute. Use your own breath. Two more. You might start to feel it in your left butt cheek. On this one, you're going to lift and hold, kick into that back foot. Either stay here if you want to take a bend in that back knee. Grab the foot, kick into the hands, send the hips forwards, and maybe drop the head towards the toes. Breathe, spread those left fingers so you've got a wide base. Nice. Release, take the hand and the knee down. Let's take our knees wide and just sit back into a little child's pose here. You can let the head drop. You can bring the arms forwards or let the forearms flop. Nice. And then ready for round 2. So you're going to draw yourself back up into tabletop position. And then from here, left toe tucks, dragging that left toe along the mat, kicking into the heel. Right toe goes out to the side and we drop that left foot. Push the floor away with the right hand, reaching left hand up to the sky, and then letting right ear soften as you bring that left hand over. Make sure you're pressing into the outside edge of that back foot so you're really deepening that stretch. Good. From here, lift the hand, lift the foot. Kick into that heel, find that stability. Nice. Let's start to move with the breath. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, place the foot down, reach the arm over. Inhale, like a rising sun, lift the foot, lift the hand. Exhale, back down. Good. 5 more like this. Moving with as much control as you would be in a cat-cow. Last 2. Rising up on this one. Option 1, just stay and balance. Option 2, bending that knee, reaching for the foot, sending the belly and the hips forwards, maybe letting that head drop back. Finding that balance, look at one thing, focus the mind. Good, release. Take the hand and the knee down. And again, let's just sit back, finding a little child's pose here. Head is heavy. Maybe this time coming onto the fingertips, lengthening that stretch. Nice, and then pulling yourself back up. We're going to come onto our bum and we are going to go sideways on our mat, taking our legs nice and wide. So opening up the groin here. This first one, we're not going to engage the legs. So toes are soft. If you have a block and you want to rest your head on this block, or 2 blocks if you need them, go for it. Otherwise, you're just going to fold. So we're not worrying about a straight spine here. You're just going to totally collapse. Head drops down. You might need 2 blocks if you have them to rest the head on. Let the hands, actually turn the hands so they face up. Imagine that the bum is going behind you like a conveyor belt. Hips are tipping forwards. And your whole upper body is pouring forwards like a waterfall. Each time you exhale, just see if a little bit more weight can come forwards. Good. From here, slowly start to rise up. Take your time. You're going to keep your left leg where it is, but you're going to bend your right foot and take your right foot towards your thigh. Okay, so we're still on an angle here. Now, right arm, few options. If you can and you have the mobility, bring that arm onto the floor. You can bring your arm onto your thigh, or if you've got a block handy, really nice to use that block under the arm. So it just depends on what works for you. Now I want you to flex your foot. So active left leg. Right arm is going to go out to the side. Turn the palm to face up and then start to reach over. Now, what I want us to be working on is keeping our shoulder and our arm out of our peripheral vision. So we don't want to be starting to drop that arm forward so we can see it. So you're pulling that arm back so that you're just kind of seeing it back here. So you're pulling that chest up, flexing the foot. Some of you will be able to reach quite far. It is sensation over destination. So can you feel the stretch along that right side of the body? Can you feel the stretch in the leg? Can you feel that opening in the shoulder, that opening in the chest? Good. And then slowly start to bring your right hand onto the mat. We're going to go straight into a little half wild thing. Point your left toe, sweep your left hand up onto that right knee, and just bring the arm over the head. So we're doing a lot of spinal lengthening. And then bring the bum back down. Good. Straight back into the straddle. Feet soft, so you don't need to engage them. And we're going to round again for about another 60 seconds. So maybe if you're using those blocks, see if you can go a little bit lower. Otherwise, just hang out in space. Let the body round, let the belly go. Slow the exhales. Good, and then slowly again start to rise up. So this time, right leg's going to stay put. We're going to bend our left foot, bringing that towards the thigh. Again, if you're using a block here, take the block to the inside of the thigh. Right arm either on the floor, the thigh, or that block, whatever works for you. Elbows bent, palms facing up. Taking left hand 45 degrees out to the side, turn the palms face up, then start to move. Now, your shoulders are going to be very different. So don't think that you have to come to the same distance. Find that point where it starts to get a bit sticky, a bit stiff. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, see if you can come a little bit deeper into the pose. Don't forget to flex that left foot as well. So you're kicking into that left heel. The toes are coming towards the face. Inhale, find length. Exhale, trying to take it a little bit further. Good. 4 more breaths here. Nice. Slowly start to rise. This time, left hand behind you, point the right toe. You're going to reach up onto that left knee, bringing that right arm over the head, finding that stretch. Good. And then gently bring the bum back down, turning forwards, coming into that Paschimottanasana, that deep stretch into those hamstrings. So both feet flex. You might need a block under your bum if when flexing the feet, it makes you round your back. If you can get that anterior tilt, you're fine without a block. Hands onto the thighs. Inhale, find length. Slight tuck of the chin. We're not sending the chin forwards. Then squeeze your hips. Inhale, find length. Exhale, squeeze the hips. Now, again, what I want you to make sure is that your shoulders aren't creeping forward. So pull them back. We don't want to see them in our peripheral vision. Look at your pinky toe. If your pinky toe is running away from you, pull the pinky toe in. So nice straight spine. You're taking the hinge in the hips. Okay? Pull the thighs up towards the hips. Everything's nice and active. You might be able to reach the feet. If you can reach your feet, just make sure that you're not really rounding the upper back to get there. So see if when you grab the toes, you can then straighten the upper back. Couple more breaths. Good. From here, I want you to soften the legs, let the toes go floppy, and then start from the lower back, starting to bend and flop over those legs. So vertebrae by vertebrae by vertebrae until eventually the upper back, the head become heavy and totally release down. And this will really help you tune into that stretch, that sensation along the vertebrae, along the back. Again, if you want to rest your head on a block, if you can, feel free to grab a block and place it underneath the head. Don't worry if you barely fold here. Just letting the feet be soft. And then the same way that we came into this, we're going to come out of it. So from the very base of the tailbone, start to draw the belly in and begin to stack the vertebrae from that lumbar spine. Hands and head are just going to kind of drag as you stack the middle back, upper back, shoulders, neck, and then crown of head rises. Ooh. Nice. Good. Okay. From here, just make sure you've got a block handy. We're going to scoot the bum forwards. Hands are going to reach forwards. And we're just going to lower down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming all the way down. Nice. So you're going to grab your block. And you're going to take your block between your thighs. We're going to work on adduction, so the inner thighs squeezing in. And we're also going to work on squeezing our bum. So we're going to do some bridge lifts and lowers, and then we're going to do a bridge hold. So try to get the heels nice and close to the bum. Start to squeeze that block. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, very slowly, guys, I want you to start to push your lower back into the floor. Then start to lift the tailbone. Press into the feet, squeeze the block, lift as high as you can. And then lower, 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 lower. Draw the belly in as you send that lumbar spine down. So we're working on articulating the spine. So let's do that again. Inhale to prep. Exhale, push the lower back into the floor. You'll feel the tailbone lift. Press into the heels, squeeze the butt, squeeze the block. Then slowly lower back down. As you lower, you want to lift the bum out of the way, draw the belly in to get as many of the vertebrae to touch before the butt as you can, then release. So you're going to do 5 like this, taking an inhale, exhaling, starting to press the lumbar spine down, then tailbone lifts, then articulate the rest of the body up, really squeeze that block. And then again, lower, upper, middle, back first, then start to pull the hip towards the rib as the belly draws in to lower the vertebrae. Good, I want you to close your eyes and do 4 more. Really trying to articulate that spine, noticing how much the core has to engage, has to work. Stay using the breath. You got about 2 left. You see you're counting them. Nice. And then eventually lowering back down. And once you come down, you're going to take your arms into cactus. So we're going to keep the block between the thighs. And lift your feet off the floor. So the block's between the thighs, squeezing nice and tight. So we're still going to work on adduction. We're going to use the core. So what I want you to do is take an inhale. And as you exhale, you're going to start to lower the knees towards the floor on the right. Don't go all the way down. Take an inhale. As you exhale, start to press the belly towards the spine. Push the lumbar spine down. Squeeze the block back to center. Good. Next time you exhale, over to the left. Nice and slow. Have that control. And then the next time you exhale, draw the belly in. Think about pushing the lumbar spine down so the core is moving the legs. Nice. Good. Just keep moving like this. Legs lower to the right. On the exhale, push the lumbar spine down, squeeze that block. Don't let the knees come away from each other. Good, back over to the left. So really subtle core movements here, but if we can move from the belly, if we can protect that lumbar spine, we'll take our regular daily movements like this and we'll strengthen our core and also protect ourselves from lower back injuries, lower back pain, which a lot of people have been really suffering with during these lockdowns. One more on each side. Nice. Come back to center. You're going to move the block out of the way. This time you're going to let the knees drop all the way to the right, pushing that left shoulder down. Now, if you are very mobile and you want more of a stretch, cross your left leg around your right, and that's going to open up the shoulders a lot more. If you're tighter, you can always take that block and scoot it under your knees to support you. We're trying to get the knees in line with the belly button, so not pointing too far down the mat. And just let your left shoulder come nice and close towards your left ear. And then squeezing those thighs together, push that lumbar spine down, bringing the knees back to center, and then start to take them over to the other side. So if you're using that block, just take it over so you've got that support. Arms resting. Right ear softens to the right shoulder. Again, if this is meh, you could have some more. Cross the right leg around the left. So right leg can come around the left to give you a bit of a deeper stretch, deeper twist. Nice. And then squeeze, push the lumbar spine down, bringing yourself back up, feet onto the mat. We're going to come into a supported inversion. So grabbing your block or your pillow, if you don't have a block, scoot it underneath the bum, underneath those hips. And then just lift the feet off the floor. Start to take the legs up to the sky. Lengthen the spine, move the head so that you have all of this space. Not worrying about squeezing the legs together, let them lightly separate. And then bring those arms up to the sky. Elbows softly bend, fingers softly curl. Close the eyes. Maybe imagining that the space around you is made of molasses or peanut butter so that your limbs are almost cast. They're held in space. Notice if you can feel your pulse in your feet or your hands. As that blood is having to work harder to send it up, fighting against gravity. Very slowly, start to turn the toes and the wrists in circles, keeping the eyes closed, like you're swirling that molasses or that peanut butter through the fingers, through the toes. Doesn't matter what direction. And then just change up the direction, coming the other way. Just tuning into all those subtleties, all those sensations as you move the very ends of the limbs. And then gently allow the right arm to slowly drop behind you. And then allow the left arm to follow so that both arms are over the head. And then gently allow that right leg to start to come down. If you can, straight leg all the way down to the floor. And then do the same with the left. So if you can, you're going to have straight legs. You're going to take a little back bend here. If that's too much, then just bend the knees and place the feet onto the floor. So really kind of doing that banana stretch that we did at the beginning, where we were opening up the side body, we're now doing it along the front, the anterior side. So just breathing here. Enjoying this openness, this space that you're creating. And then gently start to bend those knees, bringing the feet in. Arms come down by the sides. Push into the heels to lift the block or the pillow. And then gently lower back down, bringing the hips onto the mat. Staying there for a moment, just noticing any sensations. And then taking one knee into your hand, then the other. And just let the knees drop out to the sides, hands holding on to those knees as they dangle out to the sides. And then start to flex the feet, either staying here, or if you want to, send the feet up to the sky, grabbing hold of them, finding that happy baby, pulling down on the feet, trying to get those knees to kiss into the armpits, maybe taking a little sway from side to side. Just gently massaging the spine. And then I invite you to just take any other movements you might want to do. You might want to straighten the legs. You might want to give yourself a little hug. You might just go straight into your Shavasana, but just taking your time to get there. Taking either classic Shavasana, legs straight, Or if it feels better this morning to have the feet on the floor, maybe even knocking the hips in towards each other, feel free to do that. No rush coming into it this morning. Just finding some stillness. Shavasana translates to corpse pose. It represents this cycle of life. And we have these big cycles of life, our start and our end. But we have all these mini cycles, these mini little births and deaths. And our yoga practice represents that. Our Shavasana is the death of our practice, the death of who we were before the practice. We lay still and absorb the benefits. And when we come out of our Shavasana, this is our rebirth. So I want you to just settle into this moment, just letting go of anything you don't need before we begin our rebirth and our entry into the rest of our day. Gently start to deepen your breath again. Just feeling that rise and fall of the belly, the push and pull of the chest. Gently roll the back of the head from side to side, just feeling those nerves, that sensation. And starting to zip the legs together, pointing the toes. You're going to reach the arms over the head, interlace the fingers, take a big stretch, take a massive inhale here all the way to the top. And then you're going to hold your breath for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Open the mouth and just gently sigh all of the breath out. Wrapping your left arm around your waist, bending your knees, and just gently roll over onto the right-hand side. Let your right ear soften onto your right shoulder. Keep the eyes closed and just let yourself settle here. This is our embryo pose. This is the beginning of that rebirth. It started with those gentle inhales and subtle movements. And just before we move into the rest of our day, we just find this position to feel safe and start to take in our surroundings once more. And then using that left hand on the mat, keep the eyes closed. Push yourself into a seated position. Palms facing up on the knees, shoulders open, hands welcoming, ready to take on whatever the day might bring you. Slight tuck of the chin, elongating the crown of the head up to the sky, letting the belly be soft, sit bones heavy. And then together we take a big inhale, hands reach high, palms come to touch, dropping the thumbs to the space between the brow for kindness in our thoughts, to the lips for kindness in our words, and then resting the thumbs at heart center for you to carry kindness, compassion, and action through the rest of your day. Opening the eyes. Well done, everyone. Namaste. Well done. That was some serious love for the spine. You should